Today I will talk about the recently buffed Corp Lance skill for Necromancer, and I will share an open world farm build with it. Plus, with this build we are using one close range skill as well called Grim Sight. If you read the latest patch notes you might know what changed with this skill, but let me explain as well. You weren't able to use this skill while moving before, you had to stop for a second to cast it, but now you can use Corp Lance while moving. You don't have to stop, which makes the skill way easy to use. Plus Grimsight's animation speed is increased with the same patch too. Now let's talk about the build that you can use these skills. In my opinion, this is one of the most fun builds you can use inside of Diablo Immortal. And first I will tell you the skills we are using. We have the star of the show of Corpse Lance. To use this skill you have to have corpses around you, so that way you can throw them to the other mobs. We only use one essence with this one, which is needed to trigger our set items. Next, we have the most fun skill inside of the game in my opinion, Grim Sight. To use this, you need to get a little closer to the mobs and one-shot all of them basically, which helps us to create corpses for the other packs, and we have only one essence with this one as well. Next, we are using Skeletal Mage with two essences, one to increase the mage count and the other one is to change their form to make them hit harder. Finally, we have Raid Form. This is the only skill in this build that triggers Battle Top Legendary Gem if you have it. We are using 3 essences with this one, and especially one of them is really important because it lets us generate corpses while using this skill. And of course we have to choose one of the primary attacks, and I am using Soulfire with an offhand essence. We will check out all these essences in a minute, but before that let's see our set items. For the set items I am using 6 pieces of Banquet, but using 4 pieces of Grace and 2 pieces of Izatar can be an option as well. I am sure you already know that what these set items do by now, so I'm not going to explain them, but if you have any questions let me know in the comment section. And now it's time to check out the legendary items we are using on this build. For the headpiece we have Studied Menace. Corpse Lance now causes enemies to decay, dealing 3.6k damage for 3 seconds, which triggers Banquet set. For the chest piece we are using Gallowsborn. Generate corpses as you move during raid form. For the shoulders we are using a Skeletal Mage essence. Skeletal Mage maximum charges increase by 1. For the pants we have Proximal Fear. Raid form now causes enemies you touch to flee in fear and damages them. The fear part is not good, but since it damages them we are using this one. And for the main ant I am using Revenant Wind. Raid form now calls 4 Cypress to hunt up 3 nearby enemies, dealing 4.5k damage over 3 seconds, while reducing their movement speed by 30%. And for the offhand we are using new Skeletal Mage essence. Skeletal Mage now summons a Dark Magus that unleashes Hungering Soulfire at nearby enemies, which deals a lot of damage. And for the additional main ant we have Grave Cutter. Grimsight now slices enemies in front of you several times, with the final swing inflicting a bleed. And lastly we have this Soulfire essence. Soulfire now has 25% chance to explode on hit, dealing damage to nearby enemies and causing them to burn. Other than that I am using Treasure Hunter or Massacre for open world farm. Usually Treasure Hunter is better because you get a little bit of extra materials with it, but if you feel slow in your farm party you can switch your Paragon to Massacre for the speed buff it gives. And for the point distribution you can max out your damage, armor pen and potency first, then you can spend your points on life or armor. Like I said, if you have any questions let me know in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like. Now I will add some gameplay with this build so you can see it in action. Take care.